Hello. Thank you guys for waiting, and welcome to the special WaveHack session with the Zora team. I'm Taka, part of Kendo, and we're thrilled to help you explore the creative, technical possibilities of building with Zora. So first of all, let me introduce the Zora rep, Ian. Ian, could you introduce yourself quick?
Hello, I'm Ian. I'm one of the developers on the Zora team leading the SDK project for coins, and I also manage our protocol.
Amazing, great. So I asked actually Ian to make the introduction really quick because we have agenda covering a lot of parts he might be mentioning. So that's why like intro was really quick. But before dive into the agenda that your guys audience can see on the Luma page, I also wanna before that I wanna ask Ian kind of really simple question like what's the moment in Zora's journey that made you feel like we're onto something big?
I think there are two moments that come to mind. The first is the very first SDK project I worked on at Zora was for Very Auction, which was a Doge auction. And I think that was one of the largest decentralized auction NFT purchases, probably still of all time. It was very exciting, it was very fresh, and it created a way for people who had created a meme to be able to monetize that and to do something and put all that money towards charity, which was really cool. Another one was bootstrapping a company through the creator tool,
Mm,
where their NFT sales were able to bootstrap a company without needing to have outside investors. And it created this
mm,
flywheel of fans directly monetizing the company or brand, allowing this brand to exist beyond just a part time thing, but to become like a full time project for the creators, which was really cool.
that that's cool. Well, this is cooler than I expected actually. Wow, that's great. And then also we have another rep joining later. Is actually joining later, so I'll I'll ask him to make an intro maybe later on when he joins. So and also we will have a live Q&A in the end part. So the audience people, I mean, if you guys watching in live, please start dropping your questions in the chat and as we go, and then Ian will answer to all those questions kindly. Great. So let's go to like the agenda, original agenda. So the first agenda, overview of Zora, Coin Content, and a web hack. So Ian, can you give us a high-level introduction to Zora and how the concept of Coin Content fits into the mission?
Yeah. So the idea for Zora is that when you created NFTs with our previous creator tools, you'd have a fixed price associated with those NFTs. You wouldn't have the ability to create markets. And we created this hybrid tool where if your NFT had enough purchases, a market would be created directly from that NFT. But what happened is people didn't have enough purchases to always get to the market level. So then our current iteration is allowing stuff to be coined directly. So it goes straight into coin mode. And this allows for much more liquidity. So when people buy in, they can also sell whenever they wish and they can sell partial amounts. It's not specifically limited to one item. The media is one, but the different purchase amounts are all liquid, allowing for a lot more liquidity and a lot more trading. And this could allow for much larger communities to be built around content as opposed to NFTs where it's a lot more static.
Interesting. And then what makes now the right time, like for a builder or creator to get involved in Zora's ecosystem?
Yeah, so something we've done for a while, starting with creator rewards, is kind of incentivizing each party that made a sale happen. So we have this concept on our mints tooling of protocol rewards, and we've continued that into the coins world. So you can specify a platform refer when you are creating a coin. So anytime that coin trades through the Zora platform, you will get a referral fee percentage, which is pretty exciting. And then
Mm,
additionally, you will have, let me see the exact words. Additionally, when you allow for buying and selling coins, you can create a way to get a portion of that referral as well for the application developer. So we're really trying to break apart the incentives that we have on the Zora.co platform and allow for third-party developers to take part in those direct incentives. So if your application does really, really well, you can get a lot of those fees through those referrals. And the most powerful one is being the place where coins are created. So no matter where they're traded, you're going to get a percentage of the primary and the secondary fees revenue.
Cool, cool. And then with that scheme, how does like the Zora kind of wave hack fit into Zora's broader vision with that scheme?
I think the idea is, we want a lot of people um, proliferating this protocol, building
Mm-hmm.
exciting applications and experiences on top of it. And WaveHack is a way for us to put our name out there and to incentivize people to directly build and give us feedback around
Mm-hmm.
what our tooling is and around what we can improve on as well, to
Mm-hmm.
kind of be the leader in this idea of creating content coins.
Cool. Thank you. And in terms of tools, now we're going to the second agenda, the SDK deep dive, and then it's Zora SDK. And then what does the typical tokenization flow look like on Zora?
The integration flow?
Right.
Yeah, I think would
I mean,
make the most sense to share.
tokenization.
Yeah. Like, how does that work on the code level?
Yes.
Okay, great. Um, I think the best way to do this would be we have some resources here, but the
Mm.
best place to kind of look at integrating this is to
Mm-hmm.
go to our coins documentation.
Mm.
And then we have some documentation here for getting started. So we have this NPM package,
Mm-hmm.
which allows for users to pretty easily integrate with our coins.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just talking through creating coins. So if you just click here for create coin,
Mm-hmm.
we have a full example of all the different parameters. So here is this platform parameter I was passing in that can earn the referral fees. And then you have your name, your symbol, and your URI.
Mm.
So an example of this is if I were to grab a coin here, we can kind of break apart this coin for title,
Mm-hmm.
description,
Mm.
and then if you go to the contract address, you can actually see the symbol, and this is what will show up on the Explorer. So the name and symbol are here.
Mm-hmm.
They're also on the Zora page. So that kind of maps directly to those parameters you have here.
Mm-hmm.
And the metadata for coins is actually pretty much the same as NFTs. We have
Mm-hmm.
documentation there on that. And we have an example of basic creation. So here you can see my awesome coin. You can specify the address of the person who gets those funds from the coin, the refer address, so the platform. So that would be your platform address.
Mm.
And then if the user wants to purchase when they create the coin, you can pass in the Ether amount here. So that's
Very,
where you
very
would get
simple.
started to create a coin.
Very easy, simple. Wow, cool. And then like maybe that's the kind of minimum steps like someone needs to build. I mean, to start minting with Zora.
Yes.
Interesting, interesting. And like, and are you guys like looking to like feature, and I don't know, like AI agent type of things on here?
Um, we are working on providing some more support for AI agents. One thing you can do with our docs, which is pretty exciting, is you can click Ask in ChatGPT,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll provide some information about the documentation. So, a question I can ask is, what is the field for adding a referral address? Um, and looking into creating NPC connections. But the thing about this that's kind of exciting is it's written in TypeScript, and a lot of LLM tooling is written in TypeScript, so you can utilize these functions and export them as tools quite easily. We're working on maybe some more examples around that. One thing that previously existed was Woza, and this would create coins on the wow.xyz protocol based off of people's posts. So an example here would be this person here that's saying deploy token name Jesse Doge. It would deploy Jesse Doge. And you can see here, this is the coin. It would actually auto-generate an image.
Wow, interesting.
So this is one thing that has been done with a previous version of the coins protocol that we call
Mm-hmm.
WoW.
Mm-hmm.
And definitely totally possible to kind of create your own
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing with the chatbot agents.
Cool, cool. And like any tips, tools, or kind of starter templates you recommend for builders joining WaveHack?
Yeah, one thing to think about is also, understanding how aggressive the bot needs to be for creating coins. You don't want to create too many coins. There's a fee associated. So the reason that bot went defunct is that there was a lot more coin creations taking place
Mm-hmm.
than there was revenue coming in. So it was losing money basically. And those APIs get pretty expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to think about what is the business model, what are the benefits, is it a tech demo, is it just for me, is it for anyone to work with? There's some really cool integrations now that exist with Warpcast that allow you to check the users
Mm-hmm.
like reputation in order to guess like, okay, will this coin not just sit there and do nothing. And another thing you can do is you can ask the users to go and create the coin with their own account. And this will properly attribute it to them. It'll also allow them to pay for the creation of the coin, which is
Mm-hmm.
quite nice.
Interesting. We actually got the question related to the warp gift, so we can answer to that question like in the end part. Great. And then also, like, have there been like any surprising or creative technical integrations using the SDK?
The SDK was released a week and a half ago. So I think that's a better question for Isaac.
Okay. Oh, we'll wait for him then. Okay, great.
For Farcaster frame ideas, I have some ideas. But essentially, being able to open a frame to do trades that
Mm-hmm.
provides like extra context around the coin, I think is something that people haven't really explored,
Mm-hmm.
and is quite cool. And the frames SDK for Farcaster
Mm-hmm.
is cool because it supports Veeam and WAGMI,
Mm-hmm.
like kind of out of the box, and then you can utilize the Veeam WAGMI connection that the Frames V2 supports
Mm-hmm.
in order to utilize the Zora SDK. So they really just go hand in hand together.
Cool. Interesting. I mean, thank you. Thank you for answering the question in the halfway. Thank you.
The other last thing for LLMs is that we support llms.txt on our documentation site.
Mm-hmm.
So you can at docs in cursor docs.zora.co, and it can pull in our entire documentation site to provide more context into your projects.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. And then we also touched a little bit on this the next agenda, which is the use case for AI plus crypto. But maybe again, is there any kind of exciting use cases you've seen or imagine at the intersection of AI and then tokenization content?
I think one thing that would be really cool is coming up with a way to parse through kind of the top coins. So I have a demo that
Mm,
will show you the top
amazing.
24-hour volume coins and
Mm-hmm.
maybe creating tagging based off of those coins.
Yeah.
Um, I'll give a quick example. It's creating some sort of tagging based off of maybe the
Mm-hmm.
text or the images or anything relating directly to that,
Mm-hmm.
where people can be. Let's see, a demo. So right here, this is a simple code pen that just gets the top 24-hour volume coins on Zora.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll just go to Zora. It's not loading for whatever reason. So you can see top today. And just like maybe passing the images and text through some sort of analysis to figure out what could be the top tomorrow. Why is this top and why is something else not the top?
Mm-hmm.
Could
Mm-hmm.
be a fun one. But we don't have great tagging abilities right now.
Mm-hmm.
And we're working on kind of different ways on the Zora platform. But if somebody comes up with a cool way of tagging or annotating content with maybe the contents of the image or specific text or maybe where it's shared outside of the platform. So stuff that has really active links on Workcaster or X. That I think is a cool thing that I haven't seen a ton of people experiment with yet.
So it may be coming at some point. So.
Yeah, but I think it's something great for, if other people wanted to go ahead and build that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But yeah, this essentially shows the same thing just through the SDK.
Mm-hmm. Amazing, amazing. And then are you like seeing any trends in how creators or devs are combining generative AI with Zora's minting tools, looking besides, the case you just shared with us?
I haven't seen a ton yet. There's probably some I haven't like caught up with. This is a great question for Isaac. I know you asked that earlier.
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay. And then like for
I think
example, like
gaming is something that's kind of cool as well. Like integrating the coins with a gaming type interaction,
mm-hmm.
or gamifying. Like, okay, you've created a few coins. How do you create some sort of gaming or collaborative social experience that does something interesting with those coins that have been created?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, it seems Isaac is here. Isaac, hello, Isaac. Oh, maybe not yet.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
Can you hear me?
Isaac. Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you. Yes. How are you?
Yeah, I'm gonna. Yeah, sorry. Finally in the train, but to that point around like AI examples, we've previously in the previous protocol, we've actually seen
Mm-hmm.
a chat like a chat GPT like interface where you could use natural language to mint things. So that would be AI coins. So imagine uh, having a way to build a Telegram bot and to say, hey, I want to buy the top 10 coins in Zora today. And then it just, you're able to do that directly in Telegram. That would be a really cool use case. Or another way
Mm-hmm.
would be like, even a Telegram app itself would be like, hey, coin this on Zora without me having to
Mm-hmm.
go onto the Zora interface and just doing that directly using an agent. That'd be really
Mm-hmm.
cool. So there's two parts here. There's like the creator side of things, and then there's also the trader side of things. Both are
Mm-hmm.
equally exciting because uh, creators creating more high quality content, quality media that people actually want to buy, and on the trader side of things, people want to actually be able to buy and get in early on these coins, and then ultimately be able to actually get some sort of upside at the end of it. And the good thing about that is when traders do well on Zora, creators do
Mm-hmm.
well on Zora as well, because the feedback loop of like creators getting a percentage of out of every single swap is really
Mm-hmm.
powerful. So imagine millions of people buying coins over and over again. So using AI, I think you could like explore two routes, like creator focused AI use cases or trader focused use cases. But either way, those are like equally needed. I feel like in Zora at the moment. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you. Just in case, to the audience side, Isaac is from the ecosystem department, and then Ian is from the protocol. I mean, he's a protocol lead. Right. And then also, I asked Ian this question, and then he told me that it's better to ask Isaac. Is that it was related to SDK part, and then the question was, have there been any surprising or creative technical integration using the SDK, even like SDK just launched?
Uh, I think surprise. We had a pre-release phase, and some people were doing like airdrop, it's like an airdrop tool using the
Mm-hmm.
coins SDK.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Infector or something like that. I could share that with on Discord later. But
Mm-hmm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
really cool. Did not see that coming, but it's a cool use case of coins. And then we're also seeing there. Let me just type it in. This team is actually using points SDK to build. Um, I think it's an AI product as well. So really cool to see people just taking the SDK and like taking their own spin on it beyond what Zora, like there's this like Zora.co canonical product side of things, but also it's really nice to see like these developers go a step further and go, I want to solve a particular problem in a certain way using that coin's SDK. Yeah.
Well, interesting. Posito. Great, great. Well, we'll share it on YouTube for sure. Great. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Great. And then back to the use case for AI plus crypto. And then another question is if someone is thinking about a predictive or interactive content, can Zora support those flows? Maybe,
Like, how so?
oh, sorry, you were breaking up. Yeah, and
Can you repeat the question?
yes,
Sorry.
if someone is thinking about predictive or interactive content, can Zora support those flows?
Zora, but I think it would be easy to
It's like it seems
also that.
you have a lot of bot connection here and then breaking up. So maybe we can come back to this question later. Or
Okay,
Ian, like, can you answer to this question
sure.
on behalf?
Yeah.
So yeah, if someone is thinking about predictive or interactive content, can Zora support those flows?
We do support limited HTML flows, and we've seen
Mm-hmm.
some really cool coins created where people will manually update the metadata. An
Mm-hmm.
example is, let me see if I can find it. 0xLGT. There was a photo where every time there was a buy or a sell,
Mm-hmm.
the buy or the sell got added onto the screen, which was a really fun interaction because the metadata would update. So as more buys and sells came in, the actual content, which I think was the Mona Lisa, got
Mm-hmm.
covered over with pluses and minuses for every sale. So the more
Mm-hmm.
activity that happened, the more obscured the piece was.
Okay, that's interesting. Interesting. Is that maybe you're back to online or you want to add something?
No, I think that pretty much answers it. We do
Mm-hmm.
support rendering HTML, SVG, and
Mm-hmm.
all that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
we have seen interactive content in Zora. There was even a game that you could play like some sort of like a tic-tac-toe
Mm-hmm.
HTML minting back then, but
Mm-hmm.
we haven't seen that with coins. So to answer your question, yes, we would support interactive content. If you have any questions around that, please feel free to share that with us beforehand, and then we can make sure like we can give you a really confident answer whether it's actually going to render properly or not on our side. Yeah.
Amazing. That's good to know. That's good to know for the builders. I mean, for us too,
There's some
right?
security constraints for interactivity. We do support it,
Mm-hmm.
but with some constraints. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, that's something to just think about. But yeah, get in touch with us. We can help you out. There are some very cool things that you can do given what we already support.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then if the builders have like more questions, then I understand, and then they're kind of free to ask whatever on the Discord or in the next too.
Yeah.
Amazing, amazing, great, great. And then we're going on to the next agenda, but WaveHack, how to earn grants. This is a very important part, right? So could you walk through like how WaveHack, WaveHack Zora works, like from idea to submission to grant?
Yeah, I can speak to that.
Mm-hmm.
I might keep my video off. So every week we would like to see like a submission of your project in terms of what you've built so far, your current
Hmm.
statuses, some of the blockers. I think I would really like to see like some of the challenges that you're actually running into when you're building it, and that way it opens up a way for us to work on it together.
Hmm.
And then seeing like wireframes would be amazing. Demos, GitHub, code repository would be amazing. The more demos, the better, just so we can see actually what you're trying to build. Um,
Hmm.
but I totally understand like if you don't have a full-fledged demo, you can also just share a Figma wireframe in the early stages. That's totally okay. But
Hmm.
towards the like, I guess like the second or third week onwards would be amazing to see like something that I could play with, even if it's the most basic um, version of it. And then obviously being able to connect wallet, like these things should be in the demo.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Um, yeah, to me, at the end of the day, like the most important thing that I'm looking for, or we're looking for, is just like progress and then usefulness if it's actually solving a problem. So yeah,
Hmm. Hmm. So you guys value the process, and of course, I mean those connection with the wallet. I
yeah,
think partners are important.
exactly. Yeah,
Amazing, amazing,
and
and
also like to not
mm,
treat it like a one-off hackathon, like treat it
mm,
like a long-term project.
mm,
The
mm,
good thing about Zora is that you have trade referrals and platform referrals. So it's sustainable in that way where clients and apps and projects can actually tap into our business model from day one permissionlessly. So you
mm,
treat it like a project that can run on its own instead of a one-off hack. I think that's a mindset shift that we like to see with the Kendo Wave of like people building it for the long term.
mm, mm. Amazing, amazing. So within the wave hack, and having said that wave hack is the long-term focus, is there any like tips or kind of common mistake that builders should avoid when applying?
I would say definitely tips would be just really use that documentation site as much as you can. And
Mm-hmm.
then, especially with the asking ChatGPT feature that we have, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
really take the time to like leverage ChatGPT to ask questions about the docs, check out the contracts,
Mm-hmm.
take the time to actually use Zora.co.
Mm-hmm.
I think that gives you a really good way to kind of identify areas where like opportunities for your project. So like if you go on Zora.co, you use it and you realize, wow, okay, I feel like I could do, I could build something that complements the canonical Zora experience. So like use the main Zora stuff, use Zora product, and then also use documentation, and then ask about a bunch of questions on Twitter, Discord,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
etc. Yeah.
If you have a problem, go to X or Discord. Right. How about you, Ian?
Yeah, everything Isaac said. I think using the platform is a really good way to kind of understand how we designed a flow that works quite well for us and like
Mm-hmm.
the different fields and things to be cognizant of when you're creating these tools. Definitely lean into the documentation. We're constantly improving it. I updated it 5 times yesterday. If something in the documentation doesn't make sense or is wrong, let us know because you're probably not the only one running into the same problem. And we'd much rather fix the documentation than just answering your question because then we don't have that sort of question in the future. So any feedback is, strongly encouraged. Um, we also have a way to integrate with non JavaScript frameworks. So if you really want to build something in Python or Rust, like talk to us, let us know. Something we're gauging interest on right now, and we have some tools to get a lot of data from our system about coins that are pretty language agnostic. It's much easier to work with blockchain using TypeScript, I would say, compared to other languages. But if you're just trying to read data, it's quite easy to use whatever language you want.
Amazing, amazing, great. So there are a lot of flexibilities and lots of support from the Zora team, mainly from the Discord and X. So the audience, people are gonna be able to guys, if you have any questions, any questions, feel free to ask on X or in Discord anytime. And also, of course, simultaneously check whatever the news are released and also on the social medias. That's also like an important part too, right? Great. Amazing. So I think that's it for the main agendas. So if you guys don't have anything, then we can maybe go into the Q&A session. Is that cool? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. So like now we're going into the Q&A sessions. We have like some questions, and then the first question Ian already answered, but like gonna focus on related things. So let me pick up the questions. Wait. My team is also like picking up. Oh. While my team is looking checking the question. I guess question from my side actually. If you could coin any piece of internet culture, like past or present, and what would it be and why? It's just kind of casual question, like between like the actual question from the audience. Can answer it.
Oh, I thought I was going to say, can you ask again? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I just pasted on the chat too. It's just a simple question.
Oh, very Zora coded answer would be something that's already been coined. So I don't know if that's a great response, but something that would be really cool to coin would be the like HTTP specification in RFC 9110.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's such a like core protocol that's kind of founded modern hypertext and media. So you could consider like all web pages are based off of this RFC.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Great. Thank you.
So when you type HTTP colon slash slash, the protocol that describes what HTTP is
Mm-hmm.
specifically, because in the early days of the internet, there were a handful of different protocols. There was FTP, there was Gopher, there was a handful of competitive protocols that focused more on like specifically describing content. And what was revolutionary about HTML is that it was so flexible,
Mm-hmm.
and that you could include multimedia, markup, and links, and links were really the large game changer, I would say, that kind of propelled HTTP forwards.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. And how about you, Isaac? Maybe you're online now.
I actually was going to say something like that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Something to do with like early internet. Just the provenance of it is so important. But I guess something a little bit more modern would be, I think, these days in the internet culture would just be memes. Like I want to see memes being coined. Like instead of it just going on Reddit, it would just be on Zora. I think that's really powerful, just because memes have the ability to just go viral amongst everyone. Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Great. Thank you. And then maybe it might be like related to like the next question. And what's one unexpected lesson Zora has learned from working with creators or developers so far? Yeah, I know Isaac.
We talked about this a little bit earlier. Please read the docs. Um, the second one would be people are super creative, and when we're like, oh, this is the three things people can do, people somehow manage to figure out 10 things they can do. And I love to see that. We get questions. It's like, well, can we do this and this? And it's like, yeah, actually, no problem. That's cool. Like, and that's really what we want to see from these hackathons. Kind of things like the plus minus images being shared. We didn't really have a way of doing dynamic images with a developer that worked on it. I was like, well, I could just ask the image to update every hour, and it worked. And kind of think about what is an interesting interaction and run with it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How about you, Zach?
I think the biggest lesson, I guess, maybe from a creator standpoint, would be creators are surprisingly very open to trying new primitives on chain. You have obviously create
Oop, Zach is gone. Hello. Hello, Zach. Okay. Well, we're waiting him coming back. Then like we can like go to the next question. And oh, you're back. Hello. Oh, nope. Hello, Zach. All right. No. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. And Ian, is there like, any underused features in an SDK that you wish more builders explored? I mean, it's just released like in a 1.5 weeks ago, but
Yeah, I was talking a little bit about the queries that we support, but I think
mm,
there's a lot of interesting queries to discover coins that have already been created and surfacing them to users that I think are really powerful and nobody's really explored too much. If you have any issues with any of the queries or want to add some, I have a laundry list of queries that people want to
mhm,
add. So I'm working on adding some 3 or 4 new queries, but
mhm,
there's always going to be some new things coming. And I think that's one underutilized aspect. Another one to think about is creating multiple owners. So any sort of interactions that would benefit from multiple owners on a coin. We're
mhm,
investigating ways to do splits. So you can have multiple owners on a coin that split the revenue. That seems quite interesting and something Isaac and I are talking about adding. If there's strong interest for it, it's something we can definitely look into.
mhm, mhm. Amazing, amazing. And then Isaac, are you maybe back now?
yeah, I,
Great. Maybe
yeah,
you wanna continue like and answer like the last question first?
yeah.
Mhm.
The lesson one. Are you referring to the previous question?
Yeah, the previous one, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I think creators are open to changes, so that's a good surprise. Looking forward to working with more developers, creators of the next few months for the foreseeable future to kind of continuously improve Zora and the developed product that we have. So, creator product, trade product, developer product.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. And then for the next one.
I guess with queries, I think it'd be really cool to see people build feeds using our queries.
Mhm,
So like obviously with you can use like explore queries to add like top trader, top gators. It would be really interesting to see feeds that focus on really specific kinds of like trading activity and then see if that drives more trade volume. So it would be cool to see people do some stuff around our explore queries.
mhm. Interesting. And then is maybe that's again those are gonna as a Zora team member, right? Personally, personally in Isaac, what type of build are you guys like maybe expecting from the builders personally? Maybe like from your team,
What type of this?
what type of building?
Uh, uh, hmm. Ian, do you want to go first?
Um, what type of builders are we looking for? I mean, people that are creative with what we have. I think just building a copy of what Zora already publishes is not terribly interesting, but building something that's really specific or unique or leans into one particular group of people and a specific way a community works is what we're looking for and pretty excited about. So, creative applications, ambitious ideas. It's quite easy to take what already exists and copy it, but I always feel like if somebody creative takes something and tries to copy it, something else comes at the end. So I wouldn't say like, don't start with copying a model that works if you have no other ideas, but like that's probably the least interesting end result, and it's not even a bad beginning to get to an end result that's more interesting.
Is that?
And I think for me, it'd be really cool to see just, I think just, I've said this previously, it's just don't limit yourself to what's already available on the market. Treat yourself like you're building things on it, so you're trying to meet, you're trying to solve problems. So how do you identify the right problems to solve for? Like start with like first principle thinking. Like don't just do obviously don't think exciting, but also you can think of it as a wow, okay, what if I was still fit as a long-term sustainable project? How would I treat this as the founder? If I had to submit this to an accelerator, how would that look? So yeah, treat this as a long-term project that could eventually become, uh, you know, a profitable product even. So yeah, I think the more apps we see within the Zora ecosystem, the more powerful the protocol becomes, and the more empowered creators become as well.
That totally makes sense, and then that's why you guys are running your guys granting program on WaveHack for sure, right? Great.
Exactly. Yeah, we want to see more builders come through via WaveHack, and yeah, we're looking forward to working with everyone.
Right. And then before I like gonna close in this like again, maybe back to the first question or first idea of why Zora is using WebHack or why Zora is doing this. But like among all the other, let's say, hackathons, other projects hackathons, because there are a lot of hackathons going on like now, right? And then those builders are deciding which to go with. And then to the builders from Zora side, why do you think those builders better look at Zora, besides other projects? Why it's more important? Why it's more exciting? Maybe you've already answered to this question already, but like, before ending call.
I can speak. The one thing that I think that really makes Zora stand out is the fact that we're the vertical. Um, and
He was really willing to answer, but a little bit breaking up. So maybe Ian, you want to take that?
I think Zora is a very open team and protocol in the space. I think a lot of other protocols or teams are not willing to put in as much time or flexibility working with external users, and we're very receptive to, oh, you did this thing we didn't expect and you broke our site. It's fine, we'll fix it. We're very focused on media, very focused on creators, and try to make our protocols and tooling as open as possible. And because of that, if you deploy on Zora, fingers crossed, you're going to have a lot more support and things are going to work for much longer than potentially using some other tooling out there. And we'll do our best to support you. So integrate your tooling into our UIs and allow for the SDK to be relatively stable.
Great, thank you. And then he's like, maybe you're back online now. I hope.
yeah, the creator first protocol. I think the one thing that people forget is that Zora is very content focused, and content is what is the main driver for like to onboard a bunch of people onto crypto. So building on top of a protocol means you get to tap into a distribution network, you get to tap into a business model, you get to build really visual, fun consumer apps that are not just for trading. You're actually creating a consumer app that's for scrolling, for
Mm-hmm.
consuming,
Mm-hmm.
for watching. So Reels, YouTube, all these kinds of formats of content. I think those are the
Mm-hmm.
things.
I mean,
And like and
mhm.
the client, the platform referral, the the client referral model is very powerful. It's so permissionless.
Mhm.
You don't even need to ask us
Mhm.
whether you could earn a
Mhm.
percentage of the fee. You get it as soon as you input your referral address as a client. So that's really powerful too.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point in the builders. 100%. Great,
Mhm.
great. Amazing,
So
amazing.
it's not just grants, but it's also a sustainable business model out of the box. Yeah.
And then that's the most important part. That's what we should change here.
Mhm. Exactly.
100%. We totally agree with that as it came down. Amazing, amazing, great. So yeah, I mean, I think that's it for from the Q&A session. I mean, Q&A question part. And before ending the call, before we wrap, do you guys have like a final word of encouragement for builders out there thinking of joining WaveHack?
Uh, Build, submit your project, share your progress as much as you can.
Mm,
Don't be shy. There's no there are no bad ideas.
mm,
There, there are only ideas that you did not execute on. So
mm,
if you have an idea, submit, take one step at a time. Don't worry about it being perfect immediately. Building products in general is a very iterative process.
mm,
Treat WaveHack as a way for you to just flex your muscle as a builder. Um, so yeah.
mm. Thank you. How about you, Ian?
Yeah, I think keep us on our toes, make some exciting things. I always like coming up, I always like reviewing what people are able to put together in a hackathon environment. It's always really interesting. And don't be afraid to do something unique, or maybe you think it might be a weird or too niche idea. Maybe you're on a good track. I don't know. It's definitely one way to differentiate yourself and build something really interesting. Or, if you don't have a unique idea, you just go and like really polish out what idea you have and write about why you polished it and like what decisions went into building it the way it was. We love to hear kind of that background as well. Not just seeing
Mm.
the final result, but thinking about like the journey and the decision making behind what reached that result.
That's a very great support. Like even the product is not like a perfect yet, a complete yet. Zora team will be like willing to help and like talk with you guys, communicate with you guys to polish it out to the main to the release. That's a very kindful,
I've won
wonderful.
many hackathons by creating an idea that was so far out of field I wasn't competing with anyone, and the judges were like, "We're amused. That's cool."
Mm.
Yeah, it's something to think about.
That's a great support. Did you hear that, builders? You guys should join this. Like that's a very nice support. Amazing. And then you guys can get also the grant afterwards, after all, too. With also generating the revenue with yours on yours. Amazing. Great, great, great. So thank you, Zach. Thank you, Ian, for all those explanations and introductions. And then builders audience, please don't forget to to follow Zora's X Discord. And if you guys have any questions, anything, go there, ask them. They'll happy to answer anything, anytime. Right? Yep. Great. And also, please don't forget to register Zora's WaveHack. The link is on the bottom of the little page, or you can just Google WaveHack Zora, and you'll find there. And then Zora will be running for like long term because they are focusing on long term acceleration. So anytime you're interested, anytime, oh, now I'm ready, and then go there. And if you feel like you're not ready, go to their X Discord, ask them, and then you'll be ready. Yep. Great. All right, that's it for today. And then thank you again, Zora team. And we're looking forward to meeting you all at the Zora's WaveHack. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.